J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth will be making a return to theaters in the form of a new hand-drawn anime film entitled The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. This new venture is not the first time Tolkien's works have been adapted in an animated form. In this video, I'd like to discuss what we know so far about this newest attempt to bring Middle-earth to the big screen, as well as briefly examine the previous animated adaptations of Tolkien's work. In regards to this newest anime adaptation, New Line Cinema, the studio behind the live-action film trilogies The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, is teaming up with Warner Bros. Animation to adapt a story from the Lord of the Rings mythos. This will be a theatrical production, with Warner Bros. Pictures handling the global distribution of the film. In an article by Deadline, it was revealed that this is intended to be a standalone film and that its production is being fast-tracked, with voice casting currently underway and with Sola Entertainment contributing towards the animation work. The War of the Rohirrim is set in the Third Age of Middle-earth, roughly 250 years before the events of The Lord of the Rings, and will focus on the life of the Ninth King of Rohan, Helm Hammerhand, with his reign plagued by war, in which a certain famous fortress plays a significant factor in his history, the fortress that would later come to bear his name, Helm's Deep. Fans will be familiar with this iconic location, as it is the site for one of the most legendary battles in cinematic history, as depicted in The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Speaking of the previous Middle-earth films from New Line and director Peter Jackson, this new anime film, though a standalone production, is intended to be connected to those famous trilogies as a companion piece, and so will draw its aesthetic and narrative inspiration from those live-action adaptations. This is in contrast with the big-budget Amazon Prime series that is currently in development, which is set in the Second Age of Middle-earth, thousands of years before the events of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And while there is no word yet on whether Peter Jackson will be contributing in any way to this new film, it has been confirmed that Philippa Boyens will be consulting on this project. Boyens, along with Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, so her experience will no doubt be invaluable for the production team. The director attached to the project is veteran anime filmmaker Kenji Kamiyama, whose credits include Netflix's Ultraman series, Blade Runner: Black Lotus, and the TV series Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews, writers for Netflix's The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, will be writing the screenplay. Those who have signed on to produce are Joseph Chow, producer for Blade Runner: Black Lotus, and Jason DeMarco, known for his work with Cartoon Network. The Toonami co-creator recently expressed his excitement over his involvement in this epic project in a series of posts via social media. As he thanked fans for their expressions of support, he continued to gush about his love for the world of Tolkien's creation, saying, quote, "Thanks for all the kind words, folks. There's a lot of work in front of us, but we already have an amazing team, and director Kenji Kamiyama, as you folks know, is the man. We are lining up killer talent. I'm scared and exhilarated like I've never been, and I'm working on something I truly love." In a separate post, he added, "Anyone who knows me knows I'm a true Lord of the Rings nerd. The chance to tell a Tolkien story with collaborators like Kenji Kamiyama and Philippa Boyens is literally a dream come true, and it will be a 2D theatrical feature." DeMarco also shared a picture of his Helm Hammerhand figure with a caption saying, "This is Helm Hammerhand, the driver of our story and one of the main characters." He also mentions that his love for Middle-earth began during his childhood, sharing several images of Tolkien's The Hobbit and revealing that he stole a copy from the school library and read it over 1,000 times before seeing the 1978 animated film. DeMarco's various tweets also received a like by Elijah Wood, which the producer was particularly happy about. "I'm certainly glad such experienced and ardent fans are involved in this ambitious new Middle-earth film." In announcing this new entry to the Lord of the Rings franchise, Carolyn Blackwood, the Chief Operating Officer for Warner Bros. Pictures Group, and Richard Brenner, the New Line Cinema President and Chief Creative Officer, said in a joint statement, "All of us at New Line feel a deep affinity for the extraordinary world J.R.R. Tolkien created, so the opportunity to dive back into Middle-earth with the team at Warner Bros. Animation is a dream come true. Fans know Helm's Deep as the stage for one of the greatest battles ever put to film, and with many of the same creative visionaries involved and the brilliant Kenji Kamiyama at the helm, we couldn't be more excited to deliver a fresh vision of its history that will invite global audiences to experience the rich, complex saga of Middle-earth in a thrilling new way. Adding to this statement, Sam Register, president of Warner Bros. Animation, said, quote, "This will be yet another epic portrayal of J.R.R. Tolkien's world that has never been told before. We're honored to partner with much of the incredible talent behind both film trilogies, along with new creative luminaries to tell the story." I have to admit, the excitement from those involved in this project is contagious, and the prospect of seeing Tolkien's work adapted in this unique art form sounds intriguing. This will be a return of sorts, as The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings have already seen animated adaptations. Many fans were even introduced to the world of Tolkien's creation through the animated productions, including Peter Jackson himself. The story of The Hobbit was adapted first as an animated musical which premiered in 1977. It was produced by Rankin Bass and animated by Topcraft, the studio that became famous for Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind and was the precursor for Studio Ghibli. Initial criticism in regards to The Hobbit stemmed from the unfamiliar art style and whether it was able to do Tolkien's work justice, presented as a family film. Regardless, it seems that at the time, many fans were enthralled by the world of Middle-earth and served as inspiration for many to dive into the books themselves. The story of The Lord of the Rings was soon adapted, though with a different studio behind the production. United Artists, with Ralph Bakshi directing, released J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings in 1978. This film covers events from The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. Initially planned as a two-part adaptation, the sequel was cancelled following a disagreement between Bakshi and the United Artists studio. Rankin Bass and Topcraft, however, continued to proceed with their plans of producing a sequel to The Hobbit. And though it picks up from where Bakshi's film leaves off in regards to the trilogy, the animated musical The Return of the King, released in 1980, was created as a sequel to their previous production, The Hobbit. While these films have been met with mixed responses from critics and audiences, over time they have garnered a beloved place among the fan base. Peter Jackson has stated in the audio commentary for the film The Fellowship of the Ring that Ralph Bakshi's movie introduced him to The Lord of the Rings and inspired him to read the books. Jackson also acknowledged that one shot in particular from his film was intended to pay homage to that original Bakshi production, which features a low angle of a hobbit at Bilbo's birthday party shouting "Proud Feet." Jackson thought this was a brilliant angle for the shot, and so he desired to incorporate that into his film. It is interesting how much the animated films themselves impacted the production for Peter Jackson's live-action adaptations that followed. And now in a return to animation, it is this new anime film that will very much be influenced by New Line Cinema's famous trilogies. I for one am very excited not only to see the amazing visuals presented in this 2D art form, but also to see a portion of the Lord of the Rings timeline that has never been adapted before. I certainly hope that this is a sign for more of Tolkien's stories to be adapted in this way. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Lord of the Rings and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. And let me know what you think about the news of this latest anime adaptation of Tolkien's work. Are there any other stories from Middle-earth you would like to see adapted in this medium? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.